Can we have the in-chambers roll call?
Board Member Dyer.
Here.
Board Member Goodhue.
Here.
Board Member Gualtieri.
Here.
Board Member Pomeroy.
Here.
Chair Croman.
Here. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, are there any public appearances at this time? Seeing none. I would like to state that under the Brown Act, public comments for matters on the agenda must relate to that agenda item, and public comments for matters that are not on the agenda must relate to the subject matter jurisdiction of this legislative body. Hateful, violent, and threatening speech is impermissible public comment as it disrupts the conduct of the public meeting. This is a warning that if a member of the public attending this meeting remotely violates the Brown Act by failing to comply with these requirements to the Brown Act meeting, that speaker will then be muted. Okay, any announcements?
Do we want to ask any members of the public if they want to speak? Or did I miss that part?
No, I asked for public appearances, but are there any members of the public that wish to speak? Okay, hearing none. All right, we'll move on with the public hearings. Starting with DR 24-287.
So the first item on your agenda, DR 24087 Esperanza Carmel Commercial, they have requested a continuance to a date uncertain, so no action needs to be taken.
I will go ahead and get started then. Design Review 24287 for the Carl Cherry Foundation. As background, the Carl Cherry Center for the Arts is located at the northwest corner of Guadalupe and 4th. The property was first developed beginning in the circa 1894 with a residence that was altered and later turned into an art gallery. And today we'll be talking about a studio building that was constructed around 1946, we think as a garage. The property as a whole was found significant under criteria 1 and 3, and that's event and people, for its major significant contributions developing and supporting experimental fine arts in Carmel, and for Dr. Carl Cherry and his partner Jean d'Orge, with a period of significance of 1948 to 1974. So as it's not significant for architecture, we do still have character-defining features for the property, namely single-story massing and spatial relationships between the buildings, the siting of the buildings within a natural setting, a grape stake fence around the perimeter, wood as a predominant construction material throughout all the buildings on the site. There is one building designed by noted architect Pallard Keating Clay, and then pathways and sculpture garden area. The proposed project involves demolishing an existing 360 square foot studio, which is located just 1 foot from the northern property line. As I mentioned, we think this was a garage originally that was later added onto. And then the applicant is proposing to build a 775 square foot art studio in approximately the same location, but set 3 feet off that north property line to meet our current setbacks. And in order to accommodate this new studio, the applicant will need to remove a 36 square foot storage closet from the theater building, and they're also going to need to demolish a 300 square foot brick patio. So it's quite a large property, 20,000 square feet, and the applicant does have the floor area to do this project without exceeding the floor area limitations. And they are proposing that the art studio is going to be 1 story, wood clad, with double hung aluminum clad wood windows, a shed roof, and 2 skylights. So we're here tonight to consider whether or not the project is consistent with the Secretary's standards for rehabilitation. Here are the 10 standards listed on the left, and we did have the city's architectural historian review the project, and it is consistent as designed with no special conditions of approval with standards 1, 2, 4, 5, 9, and 10. And then 3, 6, 7, and 8 were found not applicable. So here are a few more pictures, of the existing studio to be demolished and the story poles showing the outline of the new building. Here is a site plan, and I can zoom in on the project area at the north portion of the site. But here you can see the complex of buildings that have developed over the decades. Outlined in red is the existing studio proposed to be demolished, and the new building outlined in green. Again, the new building will be 775 square feet. And you can also see the storage closet on the theater and why that area will need to be demolished to accommodate the new building. I can go through the elevations. Existing is on top, proposed on bottom. Here's the north elevation with no openings. And I guess I can say that the shed roof will be sloped down towards the north, so you can see the 2 skylights. This is the south elevation that you see when you're entering the Carl Cherry property. And the west elevation. And finally, the east. So the east is what you see from Guadalupe. And just as a reminder that the HRB is considering issuing a determination of consistency with the standards, but that the project is reviewed via a planning study by planning staff after this hearing. So the staff recommendation is to issue a determination of consistency for the project as it is designed, as proposed, with no special conditions, but I'm happy to answer any questions, and we also have the applicant here this evening.
Are there any initial questions from the board? Okay, if not, we'll open it up to the public. Can we hear from the applicant or the applicant's representative?
I'm the applicant.
Please.
My name's Robert Walker. And
You're welcome to come up to the mic.
Thank you. My name is, I go by Bob Walker. I'm a member of the board of directors for Carl Cherry Center, and I'm in chair of the grounds and building of this new structure. I designed the building and did the plans and submitted them to Catherine. I'm not an architect, so I don't have a degree in that. I think it's my 11th grade drafting class that came into play on building those drawings. We're trying to keep the structure in compliance with the look of the 2 buildings, the apartment, which is currently the apartment, and then the Carl Cherry Foundation office. Board and bat siding, shed roof. We did increase slightly the scope, the angle of this roof on this building to improve drainage. We've had some problems with the other buildings being just a little bit too flat. And then when there's debris that builds up on the roofs, it causes problems. The building will have no electric or no water use. There'll be no bathroom within the new structure. There'll be no any type of a kitchen or kitchenette. It'll be dividable into 2 spaces, so there could be the use for either one large studio or dividing it in the center with the use of basically a barn door internally to create 2 separate art studio spaces, which is pretty in demand. We feel that people will, a lot of artists have asked if we were going to bring it back, and so we felt that it was not only a service to the artists in the community, but also a fairly much needed cash revenue income for the foundation. So, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks.
You bet.
Mr. Walker, I just had a question. In your own words, what would you describe the condition of the building right now, the studio,
Extremely poor and unsafe.
unsafe. And you're proposing in the historic consultant's report, it says that the siding will be used if possible.
If possible. In our first initial thoughts of rebuilding the building, we thought we would be limited to its existing size, and so therefore we would probably have had enough siding if all of it could have been used. But then, two things. Once we decided to pull it away from the side of the lot from 1 foot to 3 feet for two reasons. One, to comply, but also the fencing between the north neighbor and this property is in very bad shape as well. And to try and rebuild that building, or that fence, without moving the building is pretty difficult. And then also for fire.
So this will bring it into compliance then with the setback?
Yes, it had been suggested if we needed to leave it there, that we would paint it with incandescent paint, which gives it about a 10 to 20 minute, ability to withstand fire, which isn't that great. So we thought it was better just to comply. It's going to be there for a long, long time, and we wanted to make sure that it was, fitting with the code. But the existing building is, as you probably saw today, it's really gone.
Thank you.
So.
And what is the wood you're intending to use for the board and bat?
The
type of wood?
redwood.
Redwood.
Yes.
So, and you're intending to leave it unpainted then?
Yes, that's correct. Similar to what's on the other buildings.
And I understand the desire to increase the size of the structure, but one of the items looked at was the massing and spatial relationship that exists currently, and there is a spatial relationship between all the buildings there, but now we're taking a smaller building that had some distance, and we're making a significantly larger building, and we're almost bringing it up next to the other building. I know we're taking out that storage closet. What were your thoughts and considerations when you did that?
Our thoughts were that by moving the building to the rear of the property and utilizing that kind of unusable and not very functional space would allow us to gain the footage. And then in keeping the building in a relatively simple structure, the first one has a little bit of a dog leg on the front, which we think is the original garage. It kind of, I think, was added onto and built the way it is to fit the space, but it's not very functional. So we were just trying to increase the actual daily functional usage of the building by having it be in a rectangular shape. And then in order to comply with any kind of setback relationship to the other building, we would remove that one shed that's really not. There is going to be incorporated into the new building more than sufficient storage space to replace what's lost in that shed.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay, at this time, are there any questions from the public?
We have one hand online. Debbie, you can go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I live next door. My name is Debbie Montgomery, and I just wonder how tall the building is going to be compared to the existing building.
Should I answer that? The building at this moment, there are story poles that are erected on the site in the exact location of the building, including the height of the highest point of the roof. And it will be based on from the finished floor until the highest point of the roof is 13 feet.
So I have a kitchen window that looks right over the shed. Is my window going to be? Am I going to be looking at the side of the wall?
Could you repeat that? I didn't quite hear that. What you'd be looking at? You were concerned?
Okay, I have a kitchen window that is right opposite the shed.
Okay.
So my question is, will I be looking at the wall because the height would be taller.
You might be, there you're
We
looking
can
at a
pull up
wall.
photos and look at it again right now.
Okay.
I think that's something that the staff can answer better than the applicant. Do we have Debbie's?
Sebastian, if we could go back, we can look at the site photos right now to kind of see where the neighbor's window is. Just one moment.
And while Catherine's pulling that up, I'll just note that the low side of the building will be closest to the neighbor's property line, with the high side of that sloping roof more inside the property.
Correct. That's right.
Okay, thank you.
So there in that lower photo, you can see a bit of that north neighbor's home.
Yeah, wow.
And I'll pull up the photos that were attached to the staff report as well. One moment.
So Bob, can you clarify, sorry, the height of the building between the high side and the low side?
It's 3 feet. The low side roof would be 10 feet, and then the high would be 13.
Can I
So
make a,
is the low side about the same height as the existing building?
Well, it's a different type of a pitched roof, so the low side would be approximately the same as,
Ignore that.
I don't know if it's gonna, well, I think the lowest portion of the existing roof would be lower than the new lowest portion of the new building, if that's helpful.
Here you can kind of see.
If you look out your window and you look at the orange plastic fencing, that will show you what the height of that roof will be on your side of the building.
Oh, on my side?
Yes, because yes, correct. And then the highest fencing you'll see is on the far side from your home.
Debbie, are you able to see the
Okay.
photo on the screen right now?
And not very well. Actually, I'm looking at it on my phone because I'm in the car. Okay. I'll have to look at it in person to see. But there's no windows
So while
on
the
that
building
side, right?
is going to be taller along that north property line, it's coming to the south, so there'll be more distance between you and the building.
Okay. Okay, well, we are really happy to have the Cherry Center next to us, so I'm guessing it'll be okay.
can I just make
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
clarification? I was just going to say, let staff correct me, but our purview is not really dealing with whether a building blocks a neighbor's view or not, or light into the neighbor's yard. It's really about consistency with the Secretary of Interior standards. So that's a
Thank you,
planning,
Eric.
it's
Okay.
it will be dealt with. I mean, this will go to the planning commission, which will
This
address
actually
that.
is a track one,
Oh, is it?
because they're not adding more than 10% of the existing floor area. However, as I mentioned, the HRB is not approving the project tonight.
Yeah.
You're just considering consistency with the Secretary standards, so staff will issue an approval, and there will be the 10-day public appeal period.
Okay.
And then it will go to the planning commission?
No,
No.
they are.
Oh.
This is a track one project because
Okay.
they're not increasing the amount of floor area on the property be above 10%, and 10% is our threshold.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, we'll close the,
Okay, well, thank you.
thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
We'll close the floor back to the board. Any comments that the board would like to make?
I had a question for maybe Eric as our architect, or maybe staff. I noticed in the historic consultants report, she makes the statement, Ms. Clovis, that the board and bat siding will be reused to the extent possible, and then any new siding would be compatible. I can remember in some years past, there was the principle of not reusing some of this material. Am I incorrect on that?
Do you want me to comment on that?
Yeah.
I mean, my opinion on that is that if I think we're saying that the existing structure is not historically significant. So if you reuse material from a non-significant structure, there wouldn't be that prohibition.
Okay, so if it were historic, that structure, then we would not.
Then you'd have to consider that. I would
Okay,
think.
thank you very much.
I mean,
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, so exactly. So if it were historic, you'd have to consider whether it'd be, call it false historicism, like
A
pretending
false
that it
sense
is
of
a historic
history.
building when it isn't.
Right.
But this is not an architecturally significant building. It's not a character-defining feature of the property.
Okay,
And the new building will be a different footprint altogether, so
okay.
there will be a good record that it's not historic.
Will the wood building be painted, or will it be natural wood like the?
Natural wood.
Thank you.
Okay, any further comment? If not, would someone like to make a motion?
I guess I would just make a couple of statements. One is, I think, since I do think the other redwood buildings, at least one of them, is historically significant on the property, but I think the shape of this building and its character, the new windows, I think even though they're using the same type of board and bat siding, I think there's enough differentiation to distinguish between the two. And then I think in terms of the spatial relationships, I think the main important outdoor space is where we were standing, kind of in the entryway in front of the Roberts apartment or office, and this art studio still is kind of as a background to that. So I don't see, even though it's gotten a little larger, that it's really interfering with the original spatial relationships that are important to the site. And I would just simply say I think it should enable the mission of the Cherry Center to move forward and have some wonderful art studios for people to use in the community. So I support the project. And I think I basically, consider it to be to meet the Secretary of Interior standards.
Okay.
I agree too, and I think you should make the motion, even though I almost done it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion. I believe it should be to deem the project consistent with the Secretary of Interior standards. Make that determination.
Second.
Okay, for DR 24287. Okay, can we have a vote, please?
Board Member Dyer?
Yes.
Board Member Goodhue?
Yes.
Board Member Galtieri?
Yes?
Board Member Pomeroy?
Yes.
Chair Croman?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Great. Okay, so from there, we'll move on to DS 24115. Oh,
Sorry. Excuse me. Wrong one.
23.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yep, sorry, wrong way.
I think this one's next.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Thanks. Next, we'll consider Design Study 23377, the Freyden property. This is the historic Taggart House located at the northwest corner of Torres and First. It was designed by master designer Robert Stanton's firm and constructed by the first property owners Clayton and Lois Taggart in 1950. It has been found significant under Criterion 3 for architecture because it embodies the distinctive characteristics of the post-war modern style, and it was added to our inventory just this year in 2024. The character-defining features of the property include the low-slung single-story massing, a skillion roof form, which is a fun term that I learned. It's like an exaggerated shed roof form with wide overhanging eaves and exposed rafters, window walls that open onto the interior courtyard, paired and banded fenestration, horizontal redwood siding, the entry located in this courtyard, a wide Carmel stone chimney, and the detached garage. The proposed project simply involves replacing a laundry closet with a 76 square foot bathroom with a skylight located in the rear portion of the interior side yard, 3 feet 8 inches from the north property line. They will also demolish the existing retaining wall in this area and construct a new retaining wall just a bit further north to accommodate the addition. And the laundry closet they're proposing to demolish is not an original feature of the home. Here outlined in red, you can see the laundry closet and the portion of retaining wall they're proposing to move north. And then here is the proposed addition, the new bathroom and the new retaining wall. There's no other project components. Here are the relevant elevations that will be changing. On the left, we have the west elevation. You can see there that the new addition juts out to the north and will be differentiated from the 9-inch wide horizontal boards of the house. So the addition is going to feature 4.5 with boards. Here are our 10 standards again, and when the city's historic consultant reviewed this project, she found it consistent with standards 1, 2, and 10. Standards 3, 4, 7, and 8 were found not applicable to this project, and then it was found to be consistent with standard 9 if the applicant revised the plans to differentiate the addition so that it wasn't matching, and the applicant did indeed revise the plans. So as I said, now it's going to be a 4.5 width board instead of 9-inch. And the plan is to divide that 9 inches in half with every other V-groove aligning. Here you can kind of see that. So with this incorporated recommendation, staff does recommend finding the project consistent with this. And as I mentioned before, here you're considering a determination of consistency with the standards and not approving the project. Staff will do that. But we do recommend that you find the project consistent with the standards. Happy to answer questions. We also do have the architect and the homeowner with us tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the board have any initial questions for the staff? No? Okay, if not, we'll open it up for public. Do the owners or the owner's representative have any comments for the board? If so, please come up. Welcome.
Hello, staff and board members. Thank you for service. My name is Alan Lehman, and I'm the designer on the project. When we started the project, the house had not been deemed historic, but we did recognize the value of the beauty of this mid-century design, and so we tried to design a very subtle and sedate, somewhat hidden, transparent addition to the house. And so I think, with the homeowners' guidance on the project, I think we succeeded in making something almost disappear. So that was our goal, and hopefully you agree. Are there any questions you have for me?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the public on this project? Have any, Evan? Any comments from the ether?
No one online.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll close it back up. Any discussion, comments from the board?
I will bring up my comments that I usually make on projects like this, where I really do think that when you're adding to an historic building some sort of addition, that you need to distinguish it and not flush the walls up. So I think the project is fine, but I think we need at least a 6-inch separation from the corner, pushing the addition to the east by at least 6 inches to provide a clear corner distinguishing the existing and the new. And then that may require, I don't know if that's a new window or an old window, but perhaps the window on the north of the bath too would need to be changed or made smaller. But I do think it's important that we shift that over.
Could you explain that one more time? I
Sure.
heard you, but I'm not getting it.
You're talking about bumping out the entire addition to 6 inches to the east?
East.
Yes, so right now it's you have the addition wall flush with the existing wall.
What happens in that dip there? And that, I'm not familiar with the plan, but you can see the addition, and then you can see there's a recess with the addition put on the back. I wonder if, is that a door, or what goes on there?
You want to show the floor plan?
They're taking the door away.
Okay, well, there's a space there. I'm just wondering, is that a window, you know?
There is a window there.
Yeah, okay, well, that,
here.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So suggesting that this gets smaller.
So the window would not be affected, or what?
Well, it might be affected, but
Yeah.
it needs to be made smaller or pushed over.
Okay.
Can you bring up the floor plan, please? Yeah,
And
please
this is
come-
consistent, and this is,
Come
I would
back
just
up.
say this is consistent with a lot of decisions the Historic Resources Board has made over the years.
Hi, thank you. Alan Lehman again. I do appreciate and agree with the sentiment of what Eric is speaking to. And we were struggling with that because of trying to get the components in just to satisfy the second bathroom. We have a very small vanity and minimal spaces for both the toilet and shower, and we're fitting the laundry in there in this location. And so we were trying our best to preserve the existing bathroom window and not have to change that out. And so that was kind of one of the compromises, rather than pushing it, was the alignment of that wall. One of the things we discussed as a possible compromise on that to help kind of denote that distinction is to maybe take the eave line and jog that in maybe 6 or 8 inches at that point to give it that appearance of the volume changing at that point. And that's something we'd be very open to, but we're hopeful to keep the very small footprint that we're adding.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with
It's not
moving
going
it.
to affect the window either.
I mean, it can affect the window, but I mean, that's a window that no one sees, and you do see this corner. So I guess I'm not seeing what the difficulty in doing that is.
Eric, you don't really see the corner unless
No,
you're
sitting
standing in
at
the
window.
yard.
I'm looking at it right now.
Well, you see it from the street as you look through it. I mean, I just think that's an important principle to try to not flush out new and old.
But of course, this is a
And the
window
siding
that's integral to
changes
the
there
house.
as well.
I mean, it's original material.
Eric, can you go to the,
Well,
I'd like to see.
no one sees it though.
Eric, can you go to the actual, flow up and specifically talk about what you're doing? And then if you could kind of come and talk about what your counter proposal or what you've thought of doing as well, just so we can all be on the same sheet of music, because there's a lot of.
I mean, I think what he was suggesting, maybe both can be done. I think nice to see the roof jog as well as the wall.
Can you go back to the rendering? I think that illustrates it best. And is the pointer active?
It should be now.
Okay. Well, basically, I mean,
Is this the view that you wanted?
Or if you can do it on.
Yeah, so right about where the arrow points to, taking the eave line and reducing it slightly over that area where the corner, the existing corner board comes up and the addition starts. So in order to jog that back, so when we look at the house, we would see this step and then another small step here as the roof line changes, even though we would continue the same roof plane across there, but then there would be a vertical line and this fascia would step back slightly in order to help distinguish it, rather than taking the wall and moving it over, which could be achieved, but then we're intervening on the house just a little bit more, even though it is the rear, understandably.
Yeah, I mean, and then it flushes out, and then you see the different. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that your idea about the siding having the overall exposure, so that they at least those line up. But yeah, I mean, I think it needs to be jogged.
How much?
I mean, 6 inches.
Yeah. Could you take 6 inches off the bathroom?
Well, no, not, well, we could, but we would be like reducing our vanity to 30 inches. And it starts to become almost, very difficult to use as a second bathroom, to not have any counter space. So
I would even, moving if you don't want to take out the window, it could be the existing window and the bath too, it could be shifted over slightly.
Okay, but all our preferences aside, we don't want to alter the house, so we don't want them to adjust the roof.
You are adjusting the roof though.
But,
with this proposal.
yeah, all our preferences aside, they are meeting the intent by changing the 9-inch boards to 4.5-inch boards. So they're meeting the Secretary of Interior standards by doing that. And so we can make suggestions, but they are hitting the intent at this time. And so I think putting additional requirements that aren't in the Secretary standards.
I think this is part of the Secretary standards, because I mean, it's your interpretation of the Secretary standards, but you can see the way this looks. It looks like a tacked on piece of stuff flushed out with a wall. So to me, architecturally, the idea is to make it as compatible as possible with the existing, and that takes, I think, a jog, which has been the interpretation of the Historic Resources Board. Many decisions have been made based with those conditions of approval. I mean, I'm just giving my opinion.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
So in a sense, it doesn't, it concerns you even though this is not visible from the street. You still would prefer.
I think it might be on that.
It's a little bit visible, yeah.
Well,
I didn't see it from the street. We had to walk on the property and look around the corner in order to see it.
I think if you walked up at a certain angle, you could see it, but I mean.
Yeah.
But as a compromise, I would suggest like shifting the window over in bath 2 a little bit, and that solves the problem.
what does that sound like to you? Shifting the window over?
Well, it's our preference to not intervene on that bathroom at all, because we're trying to minimize the amount of work going on in the house. But understandably, if it's important to the historical guidelines to make that change, I think it's something I'll bring to the clients and clarify that this is a key to the project. But again, it's our hope that we could maintain this, this as intact.
So we're talking about the window.
You have to come up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're getting down in the weeds here. I'm not sure, if we're capable of saying how big that lavvy counter should be. But I would think that it could be a little smaller if this 6 inches came along on the end.
Well, I'm just stating my opinion. However they get to 6 inches, it's maybe not our purview, but if they wanted to make the vanity smaller, the shower a little smaller, or move the window
Looks like
slightly.
maybe it's a tub. I don't know. Is it a tub or shower?
A shower.
Okay. Well, yeah, the shower could.
In any case, I'm just speaking to what what I consider the intent of the signature standards, and that would be shifting the wall a little bit. However that's achieved.
Alan, how many inches between?
Miss, can you please come up? Because we have people online too. Can you please come up to the podium?
The existing window to the original bathroom is frosted glass, which is original to the structure.
So my question, I guess, to Alan is how many inches is between the wall of where the existing laundry room is and that window? Because if you shifted it back 6 inches, as he was mentioning, is there room between, because there's some room between the wall of the current bump out and that window. Do we know how many inches that is? Between the frosted window and the current bump out. Because there's some room there.
Is it, could I ask you, is this a secondary bathroom? Is not the main,
Well, where the
primary
frosted
bathroom.
window is the original bathroom.
well, for your use? Are you using this as a main bathroom?
Yes, where the frosted window is the main bathroom, is the only bathroom
Okay.
in the house.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
I thought I saw something that looked larger as a bathroom on the site plan.
no, it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath currently.
And moving that window and possibly cracking it, it would,
But my question to Alan is how many inches is between the current bump out and that window?
In answer to Robin's question, there's about 30 inches from that window to the existing laundry closet right now, and we're bringing the new addition up just several inches away, about casing width.
yeah. And I know moving that is going to crack the window. It's been there for 70 years.
Well, I wouldn't want to move the window, but I'm just saying, is there a way to move that?
Well, this is the.
You're moving, okay, so show me the new plan. Where does it bump up against? Does it bump right up against the,
Right.
oh, so it bumps right up against the window, okay.
And moving it east 6 inches.
Is into the existing frosted window original to the house.
And moving it, I know, is going to crack it. And it's one of the key features of why, I
I
think,
mean, it's a privacy, window.
but it's 70 years old and it's still perfectly good. And like I said, moving it and having to replace it with a modern window will really destroy the character of the house. In the first bathroom, from the inside and the outside.
So staff recommended that we approve as proposed. Can we get a staff assessment on why they recommended approval as proposed?
The differentiation we felt was sufficient in terms of the siding material was clearly an addition, even though it was flush with the existing wall plane.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that's a good precedent to set, of fleshing out things, material, even in the design guidelines. For a new structure, that's not advisable.
Or cut out the shed.
And is there a way for them to accomplish what you're suggesting without a complete redo?
How about, even a little bit would help. How about 4 inches? It's like,
So how big is the shower?
make the bathroom a little smaller.
Just make the counter 2 inches smaller on each side.
The shower's about minimal.
So I don't think we're asking too much for that.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable.
Hang on.
Yeah.
What's the current vanity?
In the plan?
Yeah.
It might be around 40 inches, so we would be, reducing it down. I don't know if I have that. I don't believe I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, but either taking it out of the
Hang on.
shower.
So you're saying make the shower smaller, or the vanity?
Or the vanity.
No,
Vanity a little bit smaller.
and that's easy to do
Sure.
Yeah,
without the shower,
Right, we can keep the shower, and just jog it
and then
4 inches.
and we wouldn't have.
and
to-
then we wouldn't have to interfere with the original.
And Eric, you suggested 6 inches. Would you compromise at 3 inches?
Compromise at 4 inches.
4 inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not a.
But
You're a fair compromiser.
He is, he.
No,
That's a
your
compromise.
compromise is
Yeah,
the
okay.
minimum. So
That
then-
being said, the other board members may not agree with me, but that's
Yeah.
my.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should be consistent, and I agree with
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
I agree.
saying. I think
And-
you have a good point.
And then the corner here is we're creating.
We'll just make adjustment.
It'll just jog in the
And,
way it jogs in.
The 4 inches there, yeah.
How big is this? Is this a standard size? Can it be made smaller?
We can
Yeah,
work on
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
fine with that.
Okay. But the window,
But the window, yeah.
We won't touch
I think we
Yeah.
want to maintain that window.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, it's a nice window.
yeah, and it would destroy a lot of the character of that bathroom, since it's original and, you know.
I think
and
anything
your
original
suggestion-
is
Anything
worth trying
original
to
is
save.
good.
Right,
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, thank you
I mean,
very
We've owned
much.
it for over 20 years and maintained
Yeah.
it, and we want
Thank
to
you
keep
so
it
much,
as,
yes.
you know, as good as we can.
We
but-
can tell.
Yeah, and, you know, I told Alan, I don't want to mess with that window. 'cause-
Okay, that's your
It's an
line in the
absolutely
sand.
charming
Yeah,
house,
I
and I'm
mean-
so glad to see something of that period coming onto our
Yeah.
list.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's original, it's in great
Yeah.
shape.
Yeah,
We want to maintain it and, you know, just have a shower, you know.
Yep.
So, all right, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Okay, so any other public comment? Okay, if there's no further comment, we'll bring it back to the board.
Should I make a motion?
Further,
Yes.
any further discussion by the board? I think we've discussed out. Eric, I would love it if you would make a
Okay,
recommendation.
I'll make a motion for the board to make a determination of consistency with the Secretary of Standards for this application with one condition of approval, which is to create a 4-inch jog,
I thought it was 3 inches.
4.
4 inches. I didn't compromise
it
with
was
3.
6, but now it's 4.
I went from
I
6
think we owe
to
them a ham too or something.
4-inch jog in the bathroom from the corner of the I guess that'd be the northwest corner of the building.
Second.
Okay, can we have a vote, please?
Board Member Dyer?
Yes.
Board Member Goodhue?
Yes.
Board Member Galtieri?
Yes?
Board Member Pomeroy?
Yes.
Chair Croman?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes 5-0.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
We'll be back next month for couscous.
All right, and then we'll go next to DS 24-115, please.
Next, we'll be considering the Salehi project.
thought that would be.
This is the historic Mary Haven House located at the southwest corner of Santa Rita and First. It was constructed in 1941 by builder Bert Taylor, and it has been found significant under Criterion 3 for architecture because it embodies the distinctive characteristics of the transitional ranch and post-war modern style, and it was just added to our inventory this year. The left photo is the east elevation looking west, and the photo on the right is the south patio in the south elevation. The photo on the left here is the west elevation, and the photo on the right is the view from First Avenue of the residence and a proposed ADU at image right. So the Mary Haven house does have the following character defining features: horizontal side down massing, and by side down I mean the home slopes down to the west. As you can see, a garage is accommodated on the west side of the building. There is a low-pitched shed roof with wide eaves and exposed rafters, particularly on the front and rear elevations. Horizontal wood siding, the attached side-down garage, wood-framed windows with horizontal panes, and some corner windows, as you can see there, a wide Carmel stone chimney, and double garage doors. The proposed project involves a 78 square foot bathroom and laundry addition and an 18 square foot addition to the kitchen. Both of those additions are fronting that south patio. The applicant also proposes to enlarge the existing garage door opening. I meant to put opening there, and convert the existing double garage door into a single roll-up door. They're also proposing to add 4 new wood steps to the existing flight of steps along the south elevation, a new driveway with permeable pavers, and a 558 square foot ADU with a roof deck. So here are 2 images. You'll see where the south additions are proposed for. Those are the areas shaded in gray. image on the left is the larger 78 square foot bathroom laundry addition, and then that image on the right is the addition to the kitchen, kind of infilling that corner. These will be visible, at least the larger addition will be visible from Santa Rita, but it is definitely a secondary elevation. Here are the additions outlined in red. First Avenue is along the top there, Santa Rita along the right-hand side of the screen. And here are the existing and proposed elevations that would be affected by these additions. The next project component is enlarging the existing garage door opening, meant to put opening, and converting the existing double garage door into a single roll-up door. And here you can see how the dimensions are proposed to be changed. So currently the garage is 7 feet 10 inches high, the opening, proposed to go up to 8 inches. The idea would be to better accommodate modern cars, the size of a modern car, and the width, the width is proposed to go from 7'10" to 8 feet, and then the height is proposed to go from 6 feet 4 inches up to 7 feet. And in the plans included in your packet, the appearance of the garage door is proposed to stay the same. They're also proposing to replace the asphalt driveway with a new permeable paver driveway, and here add 4 steps to the existing flight of steps along the south elevation. The project also includes a new 558 square foot detached accessory dwelling unit with a roof deck. Here you can see the roof deck doesn't span the entire footprint of the ADU, but it's a rectangular shape oriented east-west. The ADU itself was included in the Phase 2 historic assessment included in your packet. The city's historian did find it to comply with the Secretary's standards, and that is necessary for new ADUs, that they comply with the standards. However, beyond that, ADUs are not subject to discretionary review by the HRB or by staff, simply that it complies, and that's a yes/no objective decision. However, a roof deck is not part of the ADU per se, so the design of the roof deck is something that we could discuss. The applicant has proposed a stainless steel cable guardrail with redwood posts and a redwood handrail, and the city's historic consultant did find that to be consistent with the standards. And in the floor area table in the project plans, you'll notice that the ADU is not included in the totals. However, even with the additions they're proposing to the main house, the project is well under the allowed floor area. It will remain a single-story dwelling. So the consultant and staff has found this project consistent with standards 1, 2, 5, and 10, and 3, 4, 7, and 8 are not applicable to this project. And then standards 6 and 9, we found the project largely consistent. However, the proposed changes to the garage door, that the architect is here to provide more information. We feel that the consultant felt that it could be found consistent with the standards with 6 and 9. Go to the next slide here. Standards 6 and 9 specifically, these are the standards that discuss repair rather than replacement, always as a first course of action. And then standard 9 discusses where you need to make changes. They should be differentiated and compatible. So again, we're really only looking at the garage component of the project. As I mentioned, the opening is proposed to be enlarged, and then the doors themselves, the carriage doors, are proposed to be retained but converted into a roll-ups configuration. And as you know, retaining any historic material is always the preferred course, and this applies to garage doors as well. And the architect can speak to exactly how he's going to accomplish this proposal. And then the consultant did write in her phase 2 that if they are to be altered, then the new work should be differentiated from the old. The staff analysis is conservative. It is because they are a character-defining feature. Staff recommends retaining the size of the garage door opening and the existing garage doors. So that's been added as a draft condition of approval, which you can, here are the options. You may approve the garage changes. If the new work is sufficiently differentiated, you may accept the current draft condition, which is just to retain the opening size and the doors, or you could revise it or add additional conditions, or continue the project if detail about the garage is necessary. And here is the staff recommendation. This is just a reminder that you're not approving the project tonight, simply considering consistency with the standards. Oh, one last slide. As you noticed on the site tour, there's a Carmel stone patio and a Carmel stone front landing. And as I just mentioned, staff will be processing the design study, and part of that is going to be looking at site coverage. And the HRB, as you have in the past, determined certain site coverage elements to be historic and exempt if you would like to see them stay. So staff is asking the board just to weigh in on whether that Carmel stone patio and the front landing may be considered exempt from site coverage. That concludes my presentation. Staff recommends issuing a determination of consistency, but I'm here to answer questions, and we do also have the architect with us.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any initial questions for the staff?
The contractor who did this in 1941 is not in the historic context statement.
He doesn't have to be. We found the building to be significant for the style and not for the builder. He was a professional ice skater, interestingly, who then built his home, this home.
Can I get just a
Yes.
clarification on the ADU issues with
Yes.
historic property? So what you're saying, they're obviously showing the drawings for the ADU, and that's basically for us to determine the consistency of the ADU with the Secretary of Standards. Is that correct? We can do
Yeah,
that,
so
but we can't as an objective standard. But
You
not-
couldn't go the next step and say, we'd like it to be painted
Got it.
brown and not white, or change the board width from
Set
9
back
inches.
this thing from the corner
3
6
inches,
or- yeah.
exactly. So it simply needs to comply with the city's local coastal program, in that it meets the standards and doesn't harm the resource.
Okay. Any other questions for the staff? Okay, we'll open it up to the public. Can we hear from the owner or the owner's representative?
Did you get the email?
No.
Okay, I will flash drive.
Certainly.
Thank you. Good afternoon, HRB members, planning staff. June Ciliano, architect for DS 24115,
Hi.
Salehi Residence. I'm just waiting for my flash drive. I'll be quick.
Apologies if you emailed. We were out on a beautiful tour on a sunny day.
Okay. So first image is the site plan. On the bottom is the existing site plan. The top is the addition. You can see on the left side of the courtyard, shaded will be the bathroom addition, and to the right of that will be the kitchen addition. Reason I'm showing that is I think whoever designed this thought that the courtyard or patio is integral to the design. So that's our intent, to keep that patio there and just have enough addition to accommodate the owner's needs. Next image, please, Catherine.
Okay.
existing floor plan. Currently, the house has one bathroom shared by the 2 bedrooms. And the kitchen is so small that it doesn't function well for the owner. So our proposed project will allow for a second in-suite bathroom, a small stack washer dryer area, and a kitchen addition which will sit under the existing eave line and roof line. So we're not adding roofing there, it's just that. And then at the bottom, you'll see that we are saying that we're reusing where the bathroom is. There's a window there. That window is relocating existing that's going to be removed from the east side of bedroom 1. Okay, that's the elevation. As you can see on the top elevation, the background to the right is the foreground. So the background is that existing bathroom. And if you go to the south elevation, that window, I mean, is we're going to be relocated there. Else, our intent also is, because some of this wood siding are still in good shape, so we will want to reuse them where feasible for the addition area. Okay. The garage, on the top is the existing garage. The feature of the garage are just vertical siding with decorative hinges and an astragal in the middle. Our proposal, and it has a size of 7'10", 6'4". So our proposal is to change it into a tilt-up. We'll show you in the next image later, but with a tilt-up garage door. So our ideas, that's a tilt-up, and you can see the section profile. So our intent is to encase the existing garage door with a 2x4 material. So we keep the integrity of the existing garage door. We're widening it so people can park, the owner can park their SUV, because right now it's very tight. So we are keeping the hinge, we're allocating it to the perimeter, and we're keeping the center astragal fixed in place. So when it's all closed, it looks the same, except for that feature where we have a perimeter band around the garage door. And then, can I go back with that image, Catherine? One more back, please. Okay. I don't know if you can see that garage door at the bottom of the existing garage door. I mean, you were there today. I don't know if you noticed, it's all rotted. So it's either we repair or replace it, but it's rotted. They can't even use it. It's an existing carriage door, but that's not functional right now. And then, next, please. Okay, I think I showed that. Okay, here's the streetscape. The top image shows you the netting for the ADU. Bottom image shows you the streetscape using cable. So the intent of the wooden cable, with cable, it's a see-through look. And as you can see, the proposed ADU is subservient to the main house, much lower than where the main house is. Of course, the road slope as well.
Yeah.
That concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do board members have
I just had one question.
for-
How is the state of the garage door itself? You said there was dry rot at the bottom around the perimeter of the garage door. Is the door itself?
The bottom is the part that's rotted. Most of it is in good shape. So
Okay.
the idea is, if it's worth saving sections of it, we just, as you know, cut it because it's painted. You can easily mask it and keep most of the existing material intact.
Okay.
And framing it actually helps give it more strength, as we all know. You frame something like that. And it will be not flush with the siding, probably 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch protrusion, so you can create a shadow line and differentiate new and old.
Okay. Thank you.
You don't see any damage to the patio, the original patio, when you do the additions?
There are some pieces of stone that probably needs to be re-mortared, but overall it's in good shape.
Will you leave it in place while you do the construction, or will you remove it and then replace it?
Well, wherever we're taking it out, we'll probably put it downstairs where we have the steps, because there'll be a good chunk of it that will be removed from the addition. So the intent is keep it and reuse it on site.
I see. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, any questions from the public? No? We'll close it back up and we'll bring it back to the board. Any board discussions?
Is there anyone online?
No, thanks. No,
No, nothing.
no one online.
Oh. Well, I was just thinking that the new design is, I had written down, is unobtrusive and compatible with the original. And as far as I'm concerned, the size of the siding being the same 12-inch width as the historic consultant suggested, that was fine with me too. I think the alterations will accommodate current living conditions, and this is a vernacular house, and it's a minor remodel of the original material as far as I can see. And I think the changes to the garage opening and the size and the framing of it and reusing it would be fine with me too. So I'm in favor of the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the project looks very presentable
Yeah.
and very suitable.
I agree with Catherine.
Okay. All right. Someone other than Eric like to make a
I could
a
do
motion?
it.
Yeah,
I could
please.
try it.
You can do it.
I move that we determine the consistency with the Secretary of Interior standards for this project, DS 23377.
I'll second.
Wait. I think
Oh,
we're on DS 24115,
Oh,
We are?
right?
Well, I'm just looking at the number here on the hearing. Am I on
I'm
the
sorry, and
wrong-
I would want the board to
Oh, yes.
confirm that we are striking the draft condition and
Oh.
going with the project as proposed by the applicant.
Okay.
Okay, I see a different number here, sorry.
and I'll second.
24115.
Okay.
Understood.
So can we have a vote, please?
Board Member Dyer,
Yes.
Board Member Goodhue,
Yes?
Board Member Galtieri,
Yes?
Board Member Pomeroy,
Yes.
Chair Croman.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, I'll give it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, can we have the director's report?
So just one, I think one announcement this evening. We are actively recruiting for a new community planning and building director. So that recruitment is progressing and interviews are underway. We hope to have someone on board very soon. And that is all I have this afternoon.
Good. I think we had a good ethics session last week. I think almost everybody attended that. If not,
I didn't know about it.
no.
I missed it.
I think you can go on the city website and you can review the training online. So that was pretty good.
That's good.
Are there certificates involved?
Yes, but I think you could only get a certificate if you attended the online training.
I did.
You did?
She
Okay,
did.
so then you should have, then she should have,
She should send it
she
to you.
should have sent you, Nova should have sent you a certificate. If you
By
didn't get one.
email?
Yeah, if you didn't get one, you should reach out to her. Yeah. So that's good, and I think that's good. Is that good for 2 years?
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. Any announcements?
Thank you for welcoming me back. I've enjoyed it. First meeting.
We're happy to have you. Any future agenda items?
Oh, I wanted to ask Eric, are you the liaison to the Comstock Centennial Committee?
I
Are
thought
we?
you were.
I was. I don't think both of us should
We
probably do
nominated you
it.
in absentia.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be doing it?
I'm associated with, I'm working as part of AIA Monterey Bay with the house tour with Carmel Heritage.
I see.
And I'm happy to help in any way I can with what they're doing with the Comstocks, but I don't think I'm all that involved. So
Okay.
you're welcome
So
to take
I
it.
could do it. I could do it then, but I think one of us should do it.
Okay, I nominate you.
Does the rest of the board know that we were starting to work toward July, weren't we? We were going to bring the proclamation that Marnie put together was very good.
Yeah. Oh,
So we want to bring that back next time, Marnie?
yeah.
And then, but the house, the Hansel and Gretel, or I should say Gretel and Hansel houses are going to be, that's all been postponed to see them until September and in coordination with the house tour, if that wasn't made clear before.
So I think there'll be a total of 4 Comstocks, including his studio, that will be on the tour.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good to see a conglomeration of Comstock.
And the Borises are, I think, are also going to be having a fundraising party reception at their
Yes.
house as part of it. And Brian Congleton will be doing a lecture on the house in Comstock. So
Who will be giving the lecture?
Brian Congleton,
Local architect.
who's the architect.
Yes, I know.
He's the
Yeah, I
architect
just
of
didn't hear
the
the name.
addition. Yeah.
Yeah, you would know.
Yeah, I know who he is.
It'll be very good. And the niece of Comstock, who is, I think, in her 90s, is being encouraged to come down and be a participant so people can talk to her.
Great.
And in the Comstock house on the corner of Taurus and 6th, the niece, Comstock and Mayada's, Hugh and Mayada's niece and nephew had little beds up there in the corridor that they slept in when they came for the summer. So there's a lot of history we don't really know yet that is going to be revealed, let's put it that way. So,
Very nice. All right, any other announcements, discussion? Okay, we will adjourn the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You run a good meeting, Jordan.
Thank you, ma'am. Can we just, Marnie, do you have on the top of your head the next meeting date, just so we're all tracking?
July 15th?
I took that training too, and I saw your name there.
Is this,
July